Streaming again. Let's try this again. I don't know if it's going to pop back up where you were or if it's going to be off the new stream. All right, I'm showing it live now.
All right, hang on.
Are you good? You see it? Huh?
Wait.
No.
Waiting for Paul.
Refresh.
I did.
Go back to the channel.
Oh, now I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't see the chat. Chat is disabled for this live stream.
Why is it disabled for this live stream? Oh, I hate this live streaming stuff. This shit's tough.
Oh, there I see. There I see us.
Okay. Enable live chat. Save setting. Should have a live chat. Got two watching, it looks like. That would be you and Tony.
We are our own fans.
I just said something in the chat to see if it works.
You just took a puff off a cigarette. How far behind is it?
3-4 seconds.
Okay, that's not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. How about you got this chat working for you?
I don't see the chat.
I've just had the video up on my phone, so I don't see the chat.
It's like it's not. It used to be right here. Oh, you're disabled.
When?
Oh, we got 3 viewers now.
Well, we might as well start.
We might as well start. I can't get the stupid chat to work, it looks like.
They
Or Tony's
always,
not getting it to work. I'm not sure.
Email us or email or
shoot us a message on the Club Ascension Facebook, something.
Right.
I think you could put comments.
Or comment on the video. We'll do it that way for this one while I work on figuring it out, I guess. Because I don't know what else to do given the situation. Wish there was a way you could actually
I wouldn't dick with it.
Yeah. All right.
Comments
so anyway,
are fine. Let's kick it off.
Bring back. Yes. So let's kick it off. We'll start it off with the intro and roll. And go. Here goes. Welcome to the Ascension Show. I'm Northern Rebel, joined with Reverend Todd and T-Bone. Today we're talking about being new to the lifestyle. Which one of you two would like to start?
I think Todd should start.
Fine, I'll start. Greetings, Reverend Todd. And as you may notice, I am in Black and Blue Productions Studio East. We are expanding our footprint across Michigan. All right, so today we're talking about new in the lifestyle. And there are an enormous number of people who are new to the lifestyle, coming in as dominants, coming in as submissives, coming in as switches, coming in as whatever flavor you want to brand yourself as. So we're going to talk about definitely some things that are red flags that you should look for, positive things you should look for. basically don't come in with how to not come in with your eyes closed and to be safe. T-Bone? Tony?
I think that safety is like the most overlooked thing with new people and coming in and deciding that they're just, I guess sub frenzy is really one of the causes of safety issues that I'm seeing anyway. People aren't choosing their partners wisely, want to experience everything, and so they don't do the most common things, which is don't meet some stranger in a private place. Don't meet at a hotel. Don't meet at their house. Meet at a public event, and you pretty much will weed out a lot of the people by just saying, "I want to meet at a public event," and pretty much nobody will show.
So what's what to me? What is it about the kink world and the kink lifestyle that suddenly common sense goes out the goddamn window? Because if you met somebody on Tinder or Grindr or OkCupid or Plenty of Fish or whatever the fuck the latest dating site is, what is it about people? You would never go to their house, would you?
No, you wouldn't. You'd never go to their house. In the real world, people just don't do that type of thing. And if they do, again, they're kind of on the dumbass side. People tend to want to meet people at a coffee house or a restaurant, go out to dinner, go to a movie, someplace public, at least to fill them out before they ever go back to an apartment. I remember in the days when I was younger, it was the bar. And we went to the bar all the time.
Yeah.
Met people at the bar.
Or you have a meal.
But the thing, you go out to dinner, you go out to a movie or someplace public. You get to know people in that kind of a setting. You don't just jump right in and say, let's go to a kink party and you can beat my ass for an hour.
Right. And for some reason, people think that you come into the lifestyle and it's magic and it's filled with rainbows and unicorns, and you don't have to think for yourself. You don't have to think about all those safety steps. Well, it's more dangerous, I think, here than it is in the regular settings. That's for another show, but without taking proper precautions in meeting people, playing with people, you're setting yourself up to be hurt, and that's just not a good thing.
Well, plus there's the people who target new people.
Oh yes, the newbie predators.
Well, it's not just the predators. It's, hey, this is a new fresh meat, right? I've heard you guys both say fresh meat. I've heard you guys say, want that. I want to be the first one to do this to this person, or that.
Oh no. You'd not ever heard me say I want to be the first one to do anything with somebody.
No, but I've heard you say fresh meat.
It's a joke, as a joke, like, oh god, here comes the fresh meat. Watch the sharks start swimming.
So from an observation standpoint, is that what you're saying?
Yes, from an observational standpoint. You will never see me go after fresh meat. I don't want to have to break in new shoes because they give you blisters on your damn feet.
Yeah, I could see that.
It's too much work. It's too much effort on my part.
But that doesn't change the fact that people do it.
Of course they do. There are people that's their kink. That gets their rocks off.
Right. And some people are safe players and some people aren't.
Mm-hmm.
So what's a good way to determine whether someone's a safe player or not? That would be the question. I mean, if you're new coming into the lifestyle, and I've been involved in the lifestyle for almost 20 years now, so it's really hard for me to put myself back in those new shoes and actually think about the different mistakes. Lord knows I made a ton of mistakes when I was new, but trying to remember it all is on the hard side for me. So, I mean, what's one of the ways that we can figure out who's who on what to do, what not to do, who to play with, who not to play with? Thoughts? Anybody?
I think you could
Tony?
ask people. You could watch if they're online on FetLife, then you could watch their profile, see what they do. You can see who they play with. You can ask them for references.
I think it's really tough, though. I mean, on FetLife, watching them anyway, because a lot of here's been my observation. A lot of what I would consider sort of predatory people are really, really good at maintaining a very safe public appearance. In other words, if you look at their
some of them,
look at their Facebook, if you look at their FetLife, you would think they're really, really just genuinely good people until you start seeing and hearing what people said about them, at parties and things.
But even then, you might ignore it and make your own assumptions.
This is true. I mean, we've seen
But you do that at your own risk.
Right. And we've seen that happen time and time again in the scene. I mean, you got a bunch of people exclaiming, someone isn't quite the safest player. Mm-hmm. Not necessarily saying he's a monster or a bad guy or anything of that nature, but he's not safe, that he doesn't quite follow the rules of consent. But there's a crowd over here saying that he's the bad guy, and there's a crowd saying he's the good guy. So where is it that they decide whether he's good or bad? Because you got both sides of the coin screaming, hey, one or the other. You know what I'm saying?
I think that if you start small, start with a very well-structured scene where there's lots of boundaries and lots of limits, and see if or she honors those boundaries, respects those boundaries.
So start small in what way?
Like maybe just a spanking scene.
Something
low
relatively
impact,
relatively safe.
It's low impact in public.
Right. At a party.
Has he asked you, or she, sorry, what your safe words are? Have they given you safe words?
Yeah. Call red as a test. That's what I mean. If I were a bottom with a brand,
that's a good idea.
If I were a bottom with a brand new top, and I had no idea if they were really going to play it safe, I would do probably exactly what you said, and play at an event. Say, okay, we're going to play. Here's the boundaries. Here's my rules. And then 5 minutes, 10 minutes in, I'd call a test red.
Okay, but that brings up another issue that I have in the scene. So you're going to call your test red. To me, when I came in, red meant stop. Period. Done. Over. End of game. There's no continuing.
Yellow.
Huh?
Call test yellow. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, because red tells me stop. But I've noticed at the club, people have redefined red, and I agree that it's up to individuals to define their lifestyle, their play that suits them. Mm-hmm. But as someone, if someone new's coming into the lifestyle and they hear someone calling red, and red in that dynamic means, well, slow down, which is technically a yellow.
Right.
This is creating a problem, I think, with consent. People are taking what was supposed to be yellow to slow down, and they're calling red, or they're calling red on a specific item. So you're using a paddle that is gnarled or whatever, and you call red on that paddle, but it's okay for them to continue with the flogger. And that's just, it makes things confusing for new people, I think.
It does. Obviously, you have to negotiate and agree on that ahead of time. What do these terms mean to you?
And see, here as a club owner, I've gotten to the point where, me and Tony own Club Ascension, and I've gotten to the point where if someone's hollering red, I'm telling my people, pull them, stop them, done. People need to learn because...
Well, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with what?
Stopping a scene.
No. Because we don't know. We're not in their head. We're not in their dynamic. What
about newbies having a mentor? Having somebody who has been around, who's been in the lifestyle a while, and isn't going to fuck them.
I think this is a very, very good tactic to take. And again, this is something Tony and I agree on. Don't fuck your mentor.
True.
But I think having a mentor, and I think having a mentor, if you're a bottom, having a bottom mentor, a mentor who's a bottom is a very good thing.
Exactly.
If you're a top, having a mentor who's a top is a very good thing. Someone who's been down that road, and someone who is, I'm going to say, fairly well respected in the community. If you're not sure of someone, if you're got this offer, this guy online, it seems like he's Mr. Gray. He's perfect. He's he's wealthy and he lives in, he lives in a mansion. And
here we go.
You better pinch yourself and wake the fuck
take
up.
me to this party and it's going to be beautiful and I'm going to offer him my submission as a gift and he's going to accept it with dignity and grace and beauty. If this comes up, the first thing I would do is probably wherever you're going to this party or play scene, talk to the person who owns the venue. Mm-hmm. Reach out to a Paul. Reach out to a Tony.
Well, here comes a question too, and I don't mean to interrupt, but on the live chat, I'm watching that and trying to pay attention. Person on there is asking, if a person does something that may not be safe, would you tell them and would you show or tell them the correct way? As a club owner, I'm sure Tony would concur that it's on a case-by-case basis. It depends on what they're doing.
Well, and who are you asking? Are you asking, should person, if somebody does something unsafe, who are you asking should tell them? Should the person who's in the scene tell them? Or should somebody from outside the scene tell them? And I know my experience has been that if we saw anybody doing anything unsafe, any of our staff, they would step in and say, hey, that's not safe. This is the proper way to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I'm at a party at Club Ascension, and I wander through and I see someone flogging someone, and they're hitting all the bad areas that you should never hit, I'm sorry, I'm throwing a flag like a referee on it, and I'm going, hey, hold on, I don't want to interrupt your scene, but you're going to break this person's iliac spine, just an FYI, and hopefully you'll have lots of money because they'll sue the shit out of you and win lots of money.
Well, and I think if they don't respect that you've said that, if they don't stop and listen, if they just get all pissed off, then they're not the kind of person that I would want to play with.
Right. Mm-hmm. And as another person just pointed out, the DMs. Well, at our club, DMs tend to be hidden. We don't wear the big shiny badges and the big bright yellow neon signs that say, hey, this is a DM.
Right.
So, and we do it for a reason. Because we found that when you wear the big badges, people who are going to do something stupid tend to watch for the person that has the badge, and then they don't do anything around them, but as soon as they turn their back, they do. In our system, they don't know who's got the badges necessarily. I mean, if you've come there regularly, you can pretty much figure it out, but it allows for us to watch newer people closer without hindrance.
And it's usually
not DMs. The DMs should be the ones that actually break into a scene to say, hey, wait a minute. And it's usually all of the staff are generally DM oriented. You have to really be doing something wrong that's really going to be harmful for one of us to step in and actually say anything to break the energy of the scene.
Right. You have to be doing something dangerous. I mean, let's just be honest. You have to be doing something that's legitimately dangerous to someone.
Right. You're doing a rope suspension and you're putting rope around their neck, and we see that tether line, if this line snaps or twists or lets loose, then it's going to choke them up. Yeah, that's something that one of us on the staff is going to come in and say, hey, no, that's not how that should be done.
But there's also the new people who come in and just don't fit in, don't feel like they fit in. They come to an event, they're shy, they're socially inept. What about those people? Yeah. What about the people who are afraid to come to an event?
Well, I just had a conversation with one just before the show today on Facebook. They're wanting to know if anything was going on tonight at the club, and
why, yes, there is.
Oh, the Salvation show.
Would you like to tell them about it?
Oh, yeah, but the point is that they were worried because they've never been to an event before. They new to the lifestyle. So, you got to go through the whole explanation. You want to give them the rules of the club. You want to explain to them that even though that they're going to a party, and it doesn't matter, this could be applied at any club, that they're going to a party, that it's not some big wild sex fest where someone's going to come in and grab you and say, yep, you're in the pile too, just start wailing and beating on you. People are nervous and scared, so they want to be reassured that it's fairly sane, and in a lot of ways it's pretty tame unless you're around some of our friends. Some of our friends can get kind of crazy, but we love them for it. And you just explain the nuances to those folks, so that as they're walking in, it's not like a shell shock situation for them.
My recommendation is, if you're going and you don't feel like you fit in, everybody's very friendly that I've come across. If you just like when you're out in public, in the vanilla world, and you see, and somebody's having a conversation near you, and you have something to input into it, you can find some connection with that. Just start talking. And chances are you'll get pulled into the conversation. And then you've just made new friends. Just met people in the lifestyle that you'll see probably at every event everywhere. Because it's a really pretty small community.
And I do want to say, I want to throw this out there, and something I think we should mention. You've got to remember, a lot of people, both in the community and at any given party, are dabblers. They're not there every single party. They don't live at the club. There's a whole lot of people who are just, we come once in a while to an event, or we play when we can, and they're not hardcore into the scene.
Well, it's just like the vanilla world. There's still relationships, there's still connections, there's still, it's still very much like the vanilla world. I mean, Everybody is still human.
Correct.
It's not like they're aliens. So they still have the same, everybody, wipes their ass the same, it's like, everybody is still the same, so you can still find something to connect with somebody about. And we had a question, is staff trained to know what to watch for? And yes, we have different staff that are trained in different ways. We have one who used to be an EMT.
And actually right now I'm sending him back for his research to train the trainers for CPR.
So we've had people who have fainted at the club, and it's very important for people who aren't staff to not get involved in that, and to let the people who are qualified to get involved, because otherwise there could be an incident. But it might scare new people because they don't know.
Right. And I know the other question that he was asking was about the pitfalls and dangers, relationships and social interaction, and we talked about that a little bit. Talking about kind of screening your people, being a little smarter with who you play with. We can come back to that towards the end, but let's see, where are we at? One thing I found on the internet recently, kind of interesting, and it came out of OkCupid, is kink seems to be more popular these days than most think. They polled 600,000 people, basically the database of OkCupid. And they found that 75% of men, 62% of women like rough sex. Now, kink, and what is kinky is pretty broadly defined. And just
so the question is, do you prefer sex rough or gentle?
Correct.
And scroll back down. It is the one of the most agreed upon sex questions on all of OkCupid.
Yes. And then it continues on, and then the percentage of them that are into bondage, 64% men, 51% women. Same with the daters. The daters, it climbs higher since 50 Shades Darker, going back to your reference earlier. It seems to be dragging more and more people into the lifestyle. Whether that's good or bad, we don't quite know yet. And then the turn-ons by gender, men are like taking control, doing the tying, hearing derogatory terms, being bitten, some pain, being slapped hard in the face. That's kind of in the center. More towards the women's side, being tied up, having their hair pulled, their partner taking control. So women, then we've got one that's on religion, basically liberal versus conservative. And they're basically comparing conservatives to being the religious folks and liberals being You can see that those that are religious tend to be less involved with kink as those that aren't religious, and the liberals tend to be higher than the conservatives. Yes, conservatives want to shut everybody. Thing.
You never heard that old joke, Paul?
Which joke's that?
The old joke of Republicans are people who close their blinds and they don't really need to, and Democrats are people who leave them open and they really shouldn't.
Yeah, I guess that is a pretty good one. No, I haven't heard that one before.
Well, now you have. I think kink is, depending on how you want to define it, kink is prevalent in the dating world, in the quote unquote vanilla world. I remember in the 90s being kind of shocked that there was and I'm not going to use the name of the sitcom here, but there was a major sitcom where they were making, somebody got stung by a jellyfish and someone suggested peeing on it, and they were making jokes about golden showers on a major network sitcom.
Yeah, well, and I find the same reference in books, that there's, even though they may not be BDSM themed, there's still some little reference to spanking or some BDSM reference in the books now.
Of course.
And so it's becoming more and more prevalent, and people are, you see them coming into the lifestyle, and you see them on FetLife, and they tell you, they're new to the lifestyle, they're looking, for a connection or blah, blah, blah. And then they post in in Michigan, and it's like, and then they don't listen to the advice that's given them, which is have a profile picture.
It's usually the men, though, that have the problem with listening to the advice. As I've watched that through time, it's usually the men that are the most fiercely against listening.
Do they
anything.
type with their dick? Because all the misspellings, I'm just wondering, because the keyboards are probably pretty small and they're smudging with the dick trying to type.
Men have always, throughout history, thought they knew more than they did. That's just kind of a thing with men in general, Tony.
Don't we?
We've always thought we were smarter than. We look in the mirror and we think we're a lot more attractive than we actually are.
And it's women look. I think, for women, yeah.
Women look in the mirror. I read a great piece in Psychology Today, 10 years ago, about body dysmorphia, and women always look in the mirror and see themselves as fatter than they are, and men always look in the mirror and see themselves as thinner than they are.
Really?
Yes, it's just a consistent thing.
Well, that goes into society as a whole, though. I mean, we sexualize everything, and we've created this body type image for women that. Impossible.
So how do you get to the men then?
I don't know. Some of it, I honestly, if I look back over time, in my 20s I thought I knew everything, but I didn't know shit. In my 30s I started to actually develop a brain and understand some more of the nuance with social interaction and relationships. It wasn't really until my 40s that I actually feel like I actually developed a brain finally. So I just think we're slow. Sometimes we just got to bang our heads enough.
Yeah, I mean, how do you reach? I don't think there's a good. I wish there was a way that we could have it so it was okay for men to say, especially younger men, to say, I don't know. I don't know how to flog someone. I don't know how to safely spank someone. I don't know how to safely tie someone up. And be okay with not knowing. And be okay with asking someone, hey, I noticed you did X to your partner or your play partner or your bottom during this scene. Would you be willing to show me how to do X?
Well, you just have to fucking do it.
So
pull up your big girl panty, put your fucking purse down, and do it.
Our advice to men, then, what you're saying is put your fucking egos away.
That would be helpful.
I think that's really what it is.
Yeah.
Put your goddamn ego away.
That would be helpful.
There's no place for it here.
Well, that even would apply to me. I mean, I'm a tradesman, carpenter by trade. So going when you go through your apprenticeship in trade school, one of the classes for my trade is rigging. So I know all kinds of knots. I can rig most anything up that is mechanical. Mm-hmm. Now, you switch that to bondage. It's a little different. A living body, you may know how to tie the knot, but you've got to understand the nerves, where the nerve locations are, the artery locations are, circulation.
Yeah, you're not stringing up a lamp.
Right. There's so many things more that you've got to understand to do that correctly and safely. And ego says, well, I can do that. Well, I don't really play with rope a lot. It's not my thing. But the point being, that's where ego starts to step in my way. Well, I don't want to go to a class and learn it in front of a large group of people because, I already know how to tie these knots.
But that's a good point somebody brought up on the live chat. That's why classes are so great. And it's true, because that's a good place maybe for new people to start, is to go to a class. We have lots of classes. They're pretty small. They're maximum something. And somebody's demonstrating. You can ask after the class. You can get personal one-on-one. The instructors are awesome. They always want to be helpful. They just want to teach and learn and bring people out so that they can do it safely. So that's a good place for new people to start.
Yep, I agree. And I think too, I think a lot of people are worried about approaching. Let's say you saw a scene that you really appreciated what they did, but you have no idea how, as a top, how to do it, and you're a little afraid that the asking the top who did the scene, they might make you feel stupid for not knowing how. I can tell you right now, no decent dominant or top or master or whatever you want to use is going to make you feel stupid for not knowing something.
Right. So if they do, then that's a person to avoid.
That's just someone you should avoid anyway for all sorts of reasons. If I'm doing something and you came to me and asked me, "Hey, how'd you do that? Can you show me that?" I've literally showed and I'm going to just use a personal experience here, if that's okay.
Yep, go for it.
I saw someone at Ascension years ago.
Oh shit.
Doing hair mousse fire play, and I was fascinated. And I said, "Can you show me this?" And they did. And so I've done it, and I've showed other people it because the question's been asked. But I mean, I had no shame, and I've been doing it for 20 years, and I've been in the lifestyle off and on for 20 years, and I'm like, I had never seen this before. I'm really curious. How do you do this? Show me this. I have no ego about that. You don't know any. There's tons of shit you don't know. You'll go to your grave not knowing more than you actually know.
Right, and if you're going to let your fear guide you, then it's not the place for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to come out of your shell a little bit and ask somebody. And don't ask them in the middle of a scene. Don't ask them when they're doing aftercare. Be respectful. Right. Wait till they're done. I don't know anyone that comes to the club that would make somebody feel shitty because everybody I know who comes has no problem sharing, or at least telling you where to go to look, what classes maybe you should take, how they learned, those types of things.
And if you're a top, and if you're listening and you are a dom or you're a top or you're a master, and someone comes to ask you something that you don't know, okay, so this is something I never really learned until I was probably, like Paul said, in my 40s. It's okay to not know shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But when you're younger, especially as a male, you're given the impression that not knowing something is a bad thing, so you tend to bullshit a lot.
Well, and there's people out there who tell people that you're not submissive because you ask questions, which is total bullshit.
Right, exactly.
We have somebody who is asking about fake pictures or avatars as FetLife profile picture and the safety of that. For me, if they don't have a face picture, or at least a partial face picture, then that's somebody to avoid.
Or at least have one set for friends only.
Right.
Well, I'm going to disagree because the problem is that kink's not widely accepted yet in the world. And some people may work jobs or have things where those face pictures could actually get them in trouble, get them fired. Even if you do it on friends only, how tough is it for a fake profile to find a way to friend you, to get it, to then screenshot, then ruin you?
How many people do you think, honestly, out there, if somebody grabbed their face picture, gave it to their boss. I mean, there's a lot of effort there. There's a lot, not that I haven't heard of it happening.
I agree,
but there
there's
is
a lot of
effort there. And how many jobs have a moral clause?
Quite a few, I believe. But
even if they don't have a moral clause, a lot of jobs are employee at will. In other words, we can fire you for any reason at any time. We can't fire you because you're black, or we can't fire you because you're old, but we can certainly fire you for a made-up reason.
Right. If we disagree with you morally,
I agree that they can fire you for a made-up reason. But then they should meet you at an event.
What?
If they're not going to put a profile picture, and they're going to come after you and proposition you or want to have some relationship with you.
Now that I'll agree with. Okay,
then
now I understand what you're saying.
Meet them at an event. If they've told you, I don't want a profile picture because of my job, I've heard that before. And I've said, okay, then meet me at an event.
Or meet me in a public space. I mean, if this person's really interesting to you, I mean, if you're chatting with this person online, or you're talking with this person, via another method like Kik or some stupid thing like that, and they don't have, okay, so I guess for me, I mean between you and Paul. Right. Not literally, but I mean, I'm in between you and Paul. If they don't have a face picture on FetLife, if their profile kind of smells a little bit like it might be sort of phony a little bit, in other words, they got a whole bunch of their profile as memes and, stuff they've culled from the internet and things like that.
Yeah.
That smells phony to me. That's a red flag to me.
I will tell you that I don't agree that even meeting them in public. I'm saying meet me at an event, because if they're not willing to go to an event, then there's something shady going on.
Or meet me at a munch.
A munch, right? Some kind of event. Doesn't have to be a party. It could be a class. It could be, and like somebody said on the chat, meet them at more than one event.
Right, and then we're talking about pictures on profiles, and red flags is essentially what this is about. Now, I disagree that they have to have a face picture, and someone on chat was saying something about, well, they just don't feel safe taking a friend request from someone without a picture. Now, just want to clarify. I'm not saying someone who has no pictures, just has the big question mark on their profile that isn't showing anything, doesn't fill out their profile. I mean,
you're not saying what?
I'm not saying that those people aren't throwing up red flags. That I probably wouldn't be friending them or taking them into my friends list. They look more. It comes across to me as predatory. Whether or not that's their intention, it may be they're new, it maybe they're looking around, whatever. But it's how I assume, or I presume that profile.
I think people make the mistake that FetLife is a dating site.
And it's not. It's
really not.
It's a networking
community.
site. It's a Facebook of kink.
Right. It's not a dating
Let's just be honest. If it's a guy's profile and he's got a question mark, he's cheating on his wife.
Well, that too. I mean, there is that
possibility.
Too. Right.
I'm 99% sure that's exactly what's happening in almost every one of them.
Right.
That sure is what it seems like. Or he's closeted, and he's, there's a number of profiles where people pretend to be female subs, and they're actually guys because they're closeted. And I feel bad for them. I really genuinely do.
I get those, where it's obvious that they're a male with a female profile.
Right.
Right. And she's talking about how she was nervous or shy, being new to the lifestyle, just about adding a city. I guess people being new, they're not really aware of what to expect. And let's face it, we educate, we throw classes, right? But how much of that can we actually get out to the public? I mean, the events and things that we hold, the parties, they're not really widely publicized out to the public, per se, out to the greater public, because that would draw in political, legal, other attention that those groups don't want because whatever reason.
We're not putting billboards up on the freeway.
No, but we are putting in the events page. So
sure. But that's if they've already taken the step to get on FetLife to begin with, or in our case, Facebook.
But you were talking about the fact that whether or not they put a city on their profile.
Right. Well, she was shy.
She's from Antarctica.
Yeah, most. Yeah, I want to move to Antarctica.
But as soon as you
there's a lot of people.
As soon as you RSVP for an event, somebody knows where you're located. Pretty much that general area. So what does it matter whether you put the city? The cities are big. I mean, all you're doing then is when you put a city is when you peruse for events and you go to the events tab and you look at your local events, it uses your location to find those events. Mm-hmm. And that's a good way to find the events that are near you that you can attend. Because I'm telling you, until I attended events, I couldn't connect with anybody. I mean, you connect on some kind of a level, I guess, for the internet, doing internet stuff, but really, it's the face-to-face stuff. Going to parties, it's meeting people, it's realizing, hey, they're human, just like everybody else.
Right. And they will make mistakes like everybody else because they are human.
Right. But I've made some really good friends since I came into the lifestyle and started attending events.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think that's the important thing is just keep your eyes open for red flags, you know?
Listen to your gut.
What's that?
Listen to your gut.
Listen to your gut. If your gut says this is probably too good to be true, it probably is.
Oh, yeah, everything's too good to be true. I'm sorry.
If your gut says this person's fake, then they're probably fake.
Isn't that another show topic all on its own?
It's too good to be true.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's another topic all on its own. You know, and for newcomers, there's a thing in Michigan, at least. There's a reporting service called MI Reports, and you can find that on FetLife. And it's here. Let me bring it up so that I can get what I'm saying correct. Otherwise, someone will scream at me later.
But that's for reporting consent violations.
It's not just consent violations, which is why I wanted to bring it up. 1 second here.
It's just for creepy dudes?
No. So it's a way for Michigan community members and event organizers to report a safety hazard, discomfort, consent, discrimination, harassment, or other issues. It's a community report form, and it goes to the local event organizers for their information. Mm-hmm. This isn't shared with everybody. This isn't, the information collected isn't publicly shared. It's not about creating blacklists, anything like that. It's basically a way for those of us that are running events to kind of keep aware of things that may be sketchy, who may be sketchy, so that we can kind of watch out for those coming in.
Yeah, and that's so new people know the event hosts are doing what they can to make you feel safe, and you know you've got to do your part. That means when somebody does something to you that you told them no, don't do that, and they continue to do that, you need to let someone know.
Exactly. Do not be afraid to go to, if you're at an event, whether it's an event like a play party, whether it's an event like a munch, whether it's an event like a class, but if you're at any kind of event and someone does something that makes you uncomfortable, please go to that event organizer immediately.
Well, first, go right there. Tell the person that they've done something to make you uncomfortable. Because I might do something that makes somebody uncomfortable, and I have no idea.
Well,
until you tell me that I've done it.
But some people have a problem confronting people, Tony, and you know that. There are people who have a real difficult time confronting people.
First, do that. You're never going to get over that if you don't fucking do it.
I won't argue. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah.
I understand that people have a problem with it. But
bare minimum,
but you've got to do it. Yes, at the very bare minimum. Then go to the event organizers. Now, the event organizers should take that person and the other person and have a conversation so that everyone is clear on what wasn't comfortable. And then, doing that together helps that person be able to confront someone the next time. When they see somebody doing it and they see it's not that big of a deal, then they can go on. And if that person continues to do it,
but then
that's another issue.
True. True, but then you run into an issue where with, in some cases, what if the person that's creating some egregious act or violating some consent or whatever the case may be is someone who's more known, someone that they know to be more popular, someone who's got the big crowd cheering and behind them. Wouldn't it stand true that newer folks or people who are just coming in that know the popular people maybe from just watching would be less apt to go against someone who is a more prominent face and say anything at all?
But that's why I say go to the event organizer.
Yeah, if you're not comfortable,
be confidential
because of that, go to the event organizer. I don't give a shit who it is. I don't care if it's Jesus Christ come down to the club.
That's tonight.
If the motherfucker touched me inappropriately, I'd still throat punch him. So, you know, you got to take care of yourself first. You got to stand up. You got to say, hey, I didn't appreciate that. That was not welcome. Right. That touch was not welcome. That comment was not welcome. You're a creep. You're a fuckwad, whatever. Just something to shut them down so that they know, hey, I didn't appreciate that.
And let's be truthful about this. There are, in the kink world, just like there are everywhere else, there are people who are terrible with social interactions.
Yes.
For whatever reason, they don't have good social skills, so they may actually seem like they are being predatory.
Yes. I've had people accuse somebody who has Asperger's,
which is notorious for having a problem socially.
Exactly. And so they may be perfectly harmless, but some of their comments may come off as they are very direct. They're very black and white. They don't understand social cues. So you have to be very, very direct with them. And they are very uncomfortable because it's difficult for somebody with Asperger's to be in a social situation. So
because they know they have Asperger's.
Right. And
that's the hard part.
The hosts usually know this information. And so when you go to them and you say, this person made this comment or this person did this thing, that's why it's good for the host to go with that person to the person who they're, accusing and have a discussion. Because to me, that's Don't wait 2 days. Don't wait 2 days after the event, because then you might not know who the person is. You might not remember. We've had people come up to us days later and say, this person, so-and-so in the hot tub, groped me. Who was it? I don't know. Well,
what can we do about this?
It's really hard to do something about it because we don't appreciate that. We don't want anybody doing that. So you got to come to us. You got to come to us right away. If somebody's talking to me, interrupt. If somebody's talking to Paul, interrupt, because your safety is the most important thing to us. So when you show up, that you got to understand that. And we had a new person show up at the Munch the other night.
Right.
And, he looked really uncomfortable. But we tried to bring him into the conversation and show him around. We always give tours. We have people who give tours. Any of the staff will give them tours. And just understand that you don't have to do anything. You can sit and watch and not do a damn thing.
Yeah, and let me clarify something real quick. When we're talking about coming to the hosts for something that's making you uncomfortable or that you feel's wrong, we're not talking about see a needle scene happening or a flogger scene happening and it makes you uncomfortable. It's not that they're really doing anything wrong in the scene, it's that you just feel uncomfortable. If you feel uncomfortable, the best thing to do as a new person is to just turn around, walk away, look at the other thing. Not every kink out there is going to suit you. Not every kink out there is going to be, I want to try this.
Sorry, getting some licorice.
I see that. But just because it's not your kink, don't mean someone else won't enjoy it. So there's nothing wrong with them enjoying their kinks. So I just wanted to clarify.
Yeah, I mean, some people don't like that. We got a lot of heavy play, a lot of edge play. You could have a blood scene where people are, somebody has a needle paddle with 20 some odd 18 gauge needles and they're hitting somebody with it. You don't like that? Those are rooms that are designated for that. You can go to the other room.
And don't feel bad because Trust me, the Reverend don't watch needle scenes at all.
Well, and Paul doesn't watch CBT.
Yeah. No, fuck no. Fuck
any kind of dick
oh,
torture is sure to get rid of him.
No, it turns my Audi to an innie really fucking quick.
I was going to say, now my dick's just
That's because you're projecting. It's not about you. I mean, I don't like some of the tit torture, but I don't walk away when somebody's getting tit tortured. You guys are pussies is what I'm saying.
We just walk away.
We just walk away. We just walk away.
Get your purse and walk away.
That's right. We just walk away.
It's a purse. Don't forget the purse.
Excuse me. My purse is lovely. Thank you. It matches my shoes.
Oh, shit. Here we go.
But I think too, we also have to point out that, yes, there are some bad people. And there are bad people who are going to do what they can to use the kink culture to sneak their way in.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's a much more open culture.
They're sitting in their mom's basement. I'm telling you. They're like Jabba the Hutt, sitting at a computer in their mom's basement, looking for ways to mind fuck you. And they're good. They are really good. They know exactly the things to say, but they're never gonna get. They're fused to their fucking couch. So they're never gonna get off that computer. So all you have to do is say, "Meet me at an event," and they're gone. And
no, I mean, there are people who will come to it. There are people who will eventually show up at something, and they're just predatory people. I mean,
yeah,
it happens. It happens. Despite all the efforts that go into it, despite everything that gets put into it, it can happen. Which is why we really want to encourage you, if you're new, do what you can to vet these people out before you get into a situation with them where something bad can happen.
Yeah, because I hear so many stories about new people who their first experience was terrible.
It was awful.
Abusive.
They went to someone's house to play.
Yeah, it's always about going to somebody's house, the private things or going to a party, meeting them, and then being out in the parking lot and having them, push you to go somewhere private. And because you want to play and you want to be accepted and you want to experience this, you go. And that's wrong. Don't do that. If they're not willing to play in a public event, then there's something going on.
Right.
Because the public events, I mean, some people like the exhibitionism. Some people like to be voyeurs.
And some don't like the exhibitionism.
And some don't. Some don't like to play in public. But I'm not talking about, being naked playing. I'm talking about just a simple scene.
Yeah.
You don't even have to play with them in public. Just meet them.
Yeah,
right, but I've heard of people who have gone to events, met somebody, and then went out in the parking lot. They were leaving, and they were all excited because, this guy was interested in them and wanted to do a scene and blah, blah, blah. And he led them to their house, and he beat the fucking shit out of them.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, there are some really disgusting, horrible people. And what you're talking about is a crime. That is legitimately rape, assault.
Exactly, that's assault. But
these things should be prosecuted.
Because you agreed to a scene, as a woman, you agreed to some part of that. You didn't agree to all of it, but you agreed to some of it, and he didn't respect you. You do not feel like you can go to the police and say, "Oh, yeah, by the way, I agreed for him to paddle me, but I didn't agree to him to continue or to punch me or to rape me or whatever." You can still do that. The police, I think, are getting a little more clued into what is domestic violence and what isn't.
Most police departments now are very aware of that difference. They really will act on your statement that, we were playing kinky and things, he got way out of hand, he wouldn't listen. I revoked my consent. As soon as you use the words, "I revoked my consent," most police departments, I'm speaking for the larger areas, metropolitan areas at least, have been trained and are aware that that is a crime, and they will pursue it as such.
Yes. Don't. That should be your first If it's a crime, you should report it immediately.
Yes.
Yeah, but that gets into victim rights, victim blaming, all kinds of things.
Why is it victim blaming? I'm telling you.
No. From everything I've ever heard, now I've never been affected. I'm not one of the Me Too people. But from things that I've heard from those that do have the Me Too thing, that new movement that seems to be cropping around, when they have gone forward to police and so forth, they feel like they're being victimized again. So
and that's probably true.
The system's broke, and
in some places,
we need to.
I think
we need.
Yeah,
to
that's
other
not
places
That's not everyone.
No, I'm not saying everyone, but more often than not, that's the story that you always hear. They're treated, they're re-victimized by the whole process.
Well, it's just the fact that you have to reveal the fact that you were victimized. It's difficult.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I can understand that they're not maybe as sensitive as they could be.
And that makes many turn away from wanting to prosecute anybody for those types of things because they don't want to be run through the ringers. They don't want, the defending attorney to pull up all this stuff on FetLife and then throw it all out there and then make them out to be some crazed sex lunatic.
So that person's just going to get away with it and do it to someone else.
You're right. Unfortunately, that seems to be the case many times.
I understand why women don't come forward. Believe me, I'm a woman who's been assaulted and didn't go forward. So I understand that.
That was the point I was trying to make. I
do understand that it's very difficult. Like everything else in life is difficult. Like I said, just fucking do it. If you need help, there's rape counselors. There was one in Saginaw that we had at the last show. There's people out there who will help you. Yeah,
Dale Ross. He's
he's
very kink friendly. So those that are looking for a lifestyle friendly therapist, Dale Ross would be one that I would recommend.
But there's other people out there who will help you, who will support you, and you need somebody to go down to the police station. You know what I mean? Your friends will help you.
There are resources, including your own friends, but there are resources that will help you through the process and sort of take your hand. That they might not, so professional resources will at least guide you through the process, but there are people in your friend community, in your close circle that will take your hand and hold your hand at least through the process. And I think that's important to recognize. But
you still have to remember that as soon as you revoke your consent,
then it's done.
Then it's done. It should be
everything
done.
After that's a crime.
Right. Exactly.
Once you revoke consent, everything that happens after that is a crime. It's a criminal offense.
Pure and simple. And it can happen. I mean, this is something we're talking about, the lifestyle side, because that's what the show is. But this happens whether you're in the lifestyle or out of the lifestyle. It's life.
Yes, and I think it's not just the kink world.
No, it's not just the kink world. It's every alternative lifestyle out there. This can occur and happen in, and that's something that I want to reinforce again, is that just because you're now in the kink lifestyle, folks, does not mean that everything changed to magic rainbows and unicorns and that the world is great. You still have predators and issues out there that you've got to pay attention to and watch out for.
Exactly. I think it's too. We should probably mention. I think because it's our area. One of the major venues around here is not going to be holding events any longer because of an incident.
Well, yes. I think it was just...
And we all know who I mean.
Life, too. I mean...
And life, too.
It's... Running a club is not easy. You're catering to a bunch of people, and they do things that are disrespectful. They steal. They destroy your things. So I think that for her, it was a lot of that over time, and she was just tired of it.
We have a whole episode on that, too. However, the Spur event was an incident. At an event.
It was a straw that broke the camel's back. Yes, I think so. Yeah. It was an incident where somebody had their consent violated, or that's their accusation.
Right. That's the claim, and I'm not going to comment on whether it was or it wasn't or anything. I've kind of heard both sides, and I'm not making any claims.
And I don't know if it was somebody who was new. Oh yeah, they were new.
They were fairly new. Yeah.
They were fairly new, and first event things went awry. But that's not for us to to discuss or really debate. That's for them to decide what needs to be done for them.
But I wanted to bring it up because it does happen, and it's happened to an event in our community, and
mm-hmm. It can happen anywhere at any time.
It can happen anywhere.
Some events are a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Loud, wild.
Unstructured.
Well,
yeah, unstructured.
The alcohol, I think that anybody who's drinking excessively shouldn't be playing, shouldn't be doing a scene. So somebody who's drinking excessively approaches you for doing a scene, I would recommend not.
Yeah, alcohol impairs judgment, period. And I hear the argument time and time again. Well, I had 3-4 drinks, but I wasn't impaired, but something went wrong in the scene that they were doing. Well, at 3 or 4 drinks, regardless of whether you think you're impaired or not, for one, your judgment is already impaired. So, 2, you're already blowing legally drunk. So, stop. Just stop with your argument. It don't work.
Yeah.
Drinking,
and that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, that is a whole nother show. Drinking lowers inhibitions. It makes poor decisions because, you're 10 foot tall and bulletproof, etc. And like she just said, it's a complete show. But, drinking and playing really does not go together.
If you shouldn't be driving, you shouldn't be playing. It's just that simple.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
If you're certain that when you get pulled over by that cop, you are going to end up with a DUI or driving while impaired or whatever they call it in Michigan, I don't even remember. But if you're pretty certain you're going to blow over the legal limit when you get pulled over, you should not be playing.
Right.
End of story.
Right, but then you'll hear the argument that people say, "Oh no, I'm good. I like to play that way.
Let's ask the sober person."
Yeah, and there's those of us that have clubs that more in the area that allow drinking to happen, and we're always watching what's going on. But
we still expect
folks.
you to act like adults. We don't step in. I mean, I've seen people play that are drinking, and it's a tough call. Do I step in or don't I?
Well, I think Tony, you make a good point. You guys don't want to be anybody's mom and dad.
Right. That's
not your role. That's not your job.
Right.
But
sometimes we're made to be mom and dad, or one of the staff is made to be mom or dad. It just is what it is. Running a kink club ain't all it's cracked up to be.
Well, and I understand that new people who come in want a drink or two because it lowers your inhibitions. It makes it so you can be more social. Just don't plan on playing. Just know, if I'm going to drink, I'm not going to play.
A drink. I think
a drink is fine.
A drink.
Right.
You have a drink. It helps mellow you out. Okay, great. You have a drink. A drink, within the hour, you can drive a car.
Right.
You're safe. You're legal.
Right.
You have 4 drinks in an hour, you're no longer safe and legal.
Right. No. And it's the same with pot. I mean, now that it's become much more prevalent, we don't really have a test for pot. I mean, I guess they do, but it's hard to tell when somebody is
Well, now they're starting
stoned.
Roadside pot checks now. Now they're roadside testing to see if you're on drugs.
Yeah, but it's more difficult to tell, but still they are impaired. They are not sober. And so how do you know when those people are doing that and you should or shouldn't be playing with them? Because people react differently to pot because they may be doing it every day and their tolerance is built up. Same with drinking. Mm-hmm. They have different tolerances. So it's really something that's individual based, in my opinion.
If you're new and the person that approaches you to play has been drinking, use your common sense. Look at their behavior. Listen to their speech. Watch them walk. If you wouldn't get in a car with them and risk your life, don't play with them.
Right.
Right. Right. If you wouldn't risk your life or put your kids in the same vehicle with them, then don't play. It's pretty
simple.
Use your head. Think.
That's
what it's there for. Think. Just think before you act. Think before you speak. Think before you do. It's just that simple.
I think you've summed up our answer to New in the Lifestyle in just that one sentence.
Think.
Use your common sense.
Which ain't so common anymore.
But think with the right head, not with the little head.
Well, that's referring to men.
Yeah, well.
We'll just call them pussies now.
But yeah, just think. Honestly, that's the truth. You really have to think about what you're doing. And things that we do are dangerous. So you really should think about the consequences of your choices more so here than, dare say, the normalcy, vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
Well, people are getting high off the endorphins. It's a very charged. It could be a very charged sexual environment. You've got lots of people walking around naked, and if you can't control
depending on
yourself,
where you're at,
right? Well, yeah, but there's some form of nudity, so maybe they have their nipples taped, but it's still to new people that's like a buffet, you know, and and they get overexcited,
right,
and overstimulated. Maybe is the good word.
Another thing that I see happen when people are new is you're in a crowd. Me and you are a couple. We know Todd. Some of our other friends. Now, someone may smack my ass, and I may pinch someone's nipple, and this, that, and the other. And we're all friends. We all know what's going on. This is how we interact with each other. It's all basically consented upon between us. Basically. Now, someone new sees all that. They think it's okay to just go up to someone and do it.
Right, and I've seen that happen.
Again, it goes back to think. Just because you see one person do it, you don't know the circumstances. Think before you do it to someone else. If it's a friend of yours and you're close and that's the way you two interact, or 3 or 4 or 5 or whatever the group is, fine. But if you're not, don't. If you're new, watch,
and
learn.
If you don't know, come to a host.
Yeah.
Ask.
Yeah, ask. Come up to me and ask. I have no problem, you know, talking to new people and giving them advice or telling them, you know, even send me a message on FetLife. Ask me to vet somebody, you know, to take a look at somebody's profile, to like take a look at messages, see what I think. I'll give you my opinion. It's still my opinion, but it is somebody who's been in the lifestyle who understands, you know, what's going on.
Right. I think that stands for all three of us. We're all very public on FetLife. We're all very easily found.
Right.
Same thing with other social media. If you're unsure, ask one of us. Ask all three of us. Right. We may all give you a different answer, but, you know, that's just tough. Yeah,
it just is what it is. Well, if you really want to learn something, I think you should learn from more than one person. Don't just attend one class on flogging. And again, let's push again. Attend classes if you're new. Attend classes if you're new, because they are helpful. Don't attend one flogging class and think, well, now I got all the answers. Let's go with flogging 101. Don't think that just because you attended that one class, you now know how to flog someone correctly. One person's point of view that flogging can be different by 6 different people teaching the class because of each of their points of view. Mm-hmm. So you can pick up something from each one of those different people to make you better.
But it shouldn't be different in that much different.
No, I'm not saying that it's going to be widely different, but there will be different things, and it has to do some with mental and human capacity to sit there and withstand 45 minutes, like on a talk show today. You may have gotten bored out. The speaker may not have been as enthralling or engaging, so you missed something that he had said, but this person was more engaging.
Sure, I understand how training works.
That's what I'm talking about.
I think really, some people can't even do classroom training because they need hands-on.
Yes.
And if you need hands-on and you're new and you want some hands-on, then ask us who's the best person.
Right.
We'll tell you.
Right.
You know, or ask the instructor to give you some hands-on after class.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, typically classes that we have, there's a bottom. And I think like the fire cupping, we had a bottom that actually allowed the participants to fire cup her.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
And so, and I've bottomed for people and let them do needles on me.
Yeah, it was brave. I don't know that.
Super brave.
Yeah. Well, I've thrown Tony under the bus for someone learning needles. We needed someone
that motherfucker too.
Oh, I know. I threw her under the bus. Tony can handle it.
He was a fucking doctor. Why the fuck was he there?
He didn't know how to play with needles. He knows how to poke you.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did, because he fucking went right through a nerve in my shoulder and fucked me up for a while. And I was like, yeah, I'll never be bottoming for her again.
Then they didn't know how.
They knew exactly how to do fucking hard needle play, because if he's a sadist, that's what they want, is the pain.
Yeah, yeah, this is true.
So they know how to do it.
But yeah, attend classes, please, please, please attend classes.
It's a great way to meet people.
It is.
In a very non-pressured environment.
Right. It's not an environment where you're gonna feel like you got a play. And when you go to these events, munches are different altogether. They're generally held in restaurants, public places.
Yeah, that's a great place.
It's a great way to meet people. Going to a munch.
A bar, or you're eating, you're munching. I've gone to a bunch of. There's one in Toledo. I went to a poly munch. That's the first event I went to, was a poly munch.
Right.
Munches are great.
And you don't have to be poly. You can just go just to meet new people.
In the old days, munches were how you got into the parties to begin with.
Right.
So you had to go to the munch, because the munch was attached to the party. So that was your networking circle, was munches. You had to go. They're not so much like that anymore. And I probably shouldn't use the word munch and play when we're throwing the whole hump day thing, but because it's misleading. Our place is more like a midweek play party. The munch and play is. But
you still don't ever have to play at any party.
No, you don't.
No.
Nobody pressures you to do anything at any party at all.
No.
But munches are low-key because nobody plays.
Correct.
You're
and
just
it makes
not
it
allowed.
really
Except at
relaxed.
ours.
Well, except at yours.
Right, which, like I was stating,
it depends on where
it's
it is.
more of a midweek play party.
Well, because it's at our club, where all the equipment is there, yeah, you're going to expect the people are going to be playing.
Right.
If you go to a bar, people aren't going to be playing.
Right.
So there's a
maybe in the ladies' room.
Well, yeah, I mean, you could maybe they have remotes and they're doing shit where you can't see, but I mean, it's typically in a vanilla world, in a vanilla setting, and typically hosts use that for vetting. Now we don't, because I don't think you can really glean a lot from somebody, and neither does Paul, from at least in the vetting.
Not as vetting is done today. You can't. I just find it to be useless for myself personally.
I mean, if you're new and you want to come to an event, RSVP and come.
That's us. That's not everybody else. So everybody's got their own rules and their own way of doing things, and I respect that. And I'm not going to judge anybody for that. But for us, in my personal opinion, the system today, I'm not going to know anything about you in 2 or 3 meetings that are 5-10 minutes long, and calling that vetting is.
Right, and somebody on the chat said that you're more able to trust someone who does attend classes, and that's true.
Yes, it is, because they're at least making the steps to learn.
They're at least trying. I mean, anybody who is getting a little more involved in the lifestyle in a good manner. They're going to munches. They're going to classes. That is someone you generally can at least make an assumption that they're truly interested in becoming a member of the community. They're truly interested in bettering themselves, their skills, their social interactions, however you want to put it, or however you want to do it. But that is somebody who's not hiding behind something.
Correct.
They're not putting a false front out there online so that they can lure somebody in.
Right. They're not stuck,
They're not
their skin hasn't grown into the couch, and they're not leaving the basement.
Oh my God, here we go back to the skin in the couch. All right, well, we've been running for just over an hour, so I guess we should be heading on the wrap up. Yep. So the basic gist is, if you're new to the lifestyle, you want to get involved with classes in munches. Those are going to be your easiest steps into the lifestyle. When you're being approached by people, whether at a munch, a class, your profile, on whatever site that you're on, FetLife tends to be the kinky Facebook. When you're approached, always ask yourself, is this okay? Is this good?
Jeez, get to
Am I
the point
ready?
Again.
I'm ending it up and I'm wrapping it up.
I'm totally not even listening to you anymore because you're just,
Yeah.
That's all I hear is,
Well, you want to do the wrap up for me then?
Yeah.
Then wrap it up for me.
We need your support to continue because we got to buy equipment. So if you can log on to our site and contribute on Patreon. What is the website name? It's
patreon.com/Ascension Show.
Okay. So your continued support will help us grow and get you more episodes. So you can do that. Todd, you got a closing thing?
If you're new, talk to people who aren't new. Go to Munches, like Paul said. Just use your common sense and give us $1 a month so we can make a better show.
There you go. Oh, you're cracking me up, people. All right, so the gist is use your head. That's the gist.
That's basically it.
Take it slow. Don't rush into
And if you got
anything.
any questions or anything, just send one of us a message. We'll get back to you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. On FetLife, you can find us. Northern Rebel, the same as it is on the screen there at the top. That's our names there on FetLife. You can email any one of us at any time.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, folks.
Thanks.
You have a great one.
Bye.